Sample Manager, LabVantage, Caliber LIMS. Anyone else? Anyone can speak up if you are working on any other kind of LIMS.
Sir,
Or
before starting, I have one question.
yeah, sure.
So now we are going to discuss labware LIMS from front end point of view or admin data creation point of view, sir.
See, going ahead, in the later sessions,
Yes.
we'll both show from the front end and back end. Means we'll discuss how all the tables are built in LabWell LIMS, but of course we don't have access to the servers, right? So I cannot just go and tell you how the files are set or how things are there at the back end at the server, right? Because see, the point is LabWell LIMS is itself a COTS product, and I don't have any demo version of it where I can run and show you.
Okay.
I have certain screenshots because all of you will know, right? And they won't give you a single copy.
Correct.
So,
But no, not now. I am asking about the actual training which we are going for 1 month or 40 days. I am asking about that one.
yeah, no, I'm not talking about now. Even in the entire course, we will have screenshots, but we don't have access to LIMS as a tool, right? Where I can, hover my mouse and show you and click and show you, right?
Okay.
That's what.
Okay. Thank you.
But yes, the materials which we have or what we'll teach you is, I mean, those will be enough for how I'll teach you. Those will be enough for you to understand what you need to do, or I mean, it will give you a good understanding of about lab values.
Okay.
I'm 100% sure about that. And
Thank you. May I know your good name, please?
you can just know my name as a trainer, as a LIMS trainer.
Achha.
From knowing my good name, you can ask any other questions related to lab values.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sir, I have got one query. Sorry for interrupting the between.
No issues.
So after undergoing like training and all, so will be the end user or will be like totally creating like configurations and all will be doing in the LIMS, or will be end user?
No, end user, I'll show you configuration, how to build things or how to build, but that's what I'll show you via screenshots, but I'll show you how to do the configuration. I mean, how to prepare the static data, how to prepare the master data, I'll show you. I mean, how you can.
That is all we, correct. That is all we require about.
Yes. But the point is, I cannot, I don't have access to leveling. So I have certain screenshots, but I'll tell you with those screenshots where you will go, where you will click, what you will do. You understood, right? The point. But yes, those will be covered. You don't need to worry, because what is static data? What is the difference between static data and dynamic data? How to build static data? Which tables are related to static data? How those tables are linked? All those doubts will be cleared 100%. I'm telling you. Users table.
Okay. Will be getting any certificates?
You will be getting certificates. I'm sorry, but for the certificates, Company Connect Consultancy, you need to talk to Company Connect Consultancy. If anyone is there from Company Connect Consultancy, I know someone is there. Can anyone from Company Connect Consultancy tell about the certificates?
Yes, certification will be provided at the end of the, we can say, the course. Once assessment is there, if you will pass the assessment, then you will get a certificate. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You can continue.
Any other questions? We'll be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, will this course cover LIMS validation topic?
But it's a very big topic. LIMS validation itself is a very big topic. So so it will cover a bit. It will just touch the surface. Maybe just the theory. But the entire part, if we talk about a particular LIMS, you consider a particular LIMS with all its modules, with all the settings and everything. It's a very big topic, right? It's not about 1 month. The consultants are working year after year. So if you gauge your proficiency level, so what we'll be teaching you, say E0, E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. Okay, E5 is who is a master or who has 30 years of development experience in level LIMS. So if I teach you, I can take you to one proficiency level which you can say, okay, it's something between E1 and E2, which is quite good. No, not only from the front end, but how the tables are built. That's what how the table structures are related. How to build the master data. No, it's not just creating the users. While creating the users, how the roles are created, which user has which role, why the need of role is there, what are the different flags while creating users. We'll try to touch that. Sample, how to create samples, sample template, lot. So in the later courses, we'll slowly touch one by one topic. And again, we'll also see, the another point which I covered, and which I will cover is that regarding databases, right? Because see, if you work anywhere, you will work with data, right? And knowing how to write at least basic queries to fetch data from LIMS is very important, right? So I'll teach you the basics of database, and then I'll teach you a bit about how to apply those concepts in lab LIMS. So that will even help you, all of you. Any other questions? Okay, so I'll get started with the demo session. Okay, if all of you are okay with it. So I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
You're audible.
Yes,
Yes, continue.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. So just let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So earlier, history of LIMS. When we go to the history of LIMS, why the need for LIMS came, because earlier everything used to be pen and paper, right? Mostly they were written with pen and paper, and then they were kept in racks or shelves one after the other, and there was problem with managing those data, and it was easy to manipulate those data. But slowly, microcomputers came and mini computers came to our lives, and each of and every one of us, we have access to laptops, so everything became electronic, right? So this electronic boom came, and everything started moving to the electronics from pen and paper, and thus the IT industry came, and all these tools and softwares came. But see, just creating a software is not enough, right? Because if you want to create a LIMS application, it has to meet your GXP guidelines, right? And electronic signature is also a must, right? 21 CFR Part 11, which I think you all belonging to the pharma industries, most of you will know. So we will touch that later. But then came the need for developing LIMS. So, what is LIMS in general? I am not talking about lab LIMS, star LIMS, sample manager, or any other thing. I know the full form of LIMS. We all know the full form of LIMS. If I ask someone a question, what is LIMS? Many people will tell, okay, we can do this, we can do that, we can do stability management, we work on EM module, we work with lots, we track this sample, we do this, we integrate it with SAP, we integrate it with Empower, we do with this thing in the lab. But making it very short, what is LIMS? Can anyone tell you? Can anyone tell me? Can any one of you tell me what is LIMS? Just one single statement answer. Anyone? Any one of you, if you can try.
Reducing paperwork and uploading in the system. We can track.
Reducing paperwork, okay. Anything which is digitized, it is reducing paperwork. I think even Microsoft Word,
Yes.
Office, Excel. But what is LIMS? Well, just try anyone. If any one of you can give me any answers, it can be wrong, it can be right.
It's a lab investigation management system.
Okay, great.
We can manage all the laboratory information through this
Correct. Quite
software.
accurate. But see, can you think of LIMS without samples? My first question. At the very basics, you work on samples, right? In LIMS, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, sir.
See, what LIMS is? LIMS is a tool mainly used to log samples, enter results, and report those results. Like in the basics. What is your home? You stay in your home. The home is for staying, right? You can tell, no, okay, I cook in my home. I can do this. Yeah, you can do. But basically, at coming to the very core of LIMS, you understood, right? Yeah, we can do a lot of things on LIMS. The list will never end. And yeah, we have the list. Maybe I'll tell you some functionality. You'll tell that, no, sir, I can do something more. I can tell, okay, yes, we can do this also. Then some more modules will come. But at the very basic, even if you work in stability module, even if you work with lots, even if you create products, what are you doing? You are working on samples, right? Samples.
Yes, sir.
Remember, LIMS. Okay, you are managing instruments. Agreed. But everywhere, most of the places in LIMS, yeah, you are managing data, you are managing users also in LIMS. Yeah, I agree. But even those analysts are logging, the supervisors are logging into LIMS. What they are doing? Somehow or the other, directly or indirectly, they are working with samples, right? I mean, yeah, this is a just, very short answer, but this is a very crisp answer, right? But, it's just like saying that, the job of a lab is to perform tests. So what LIMS is doing, we work with samples. We enter the results, someone approves it. Okay, this kind of sample, okay, it goes to some other lab, and then someone, does some other tests, or someone, receives it in the lab. We work with samples in LIMS at the very core of it. Yeah, we can write queries, we can pull the sample details, we can pull user details, we can write codes to automate things. Yeah, we can do that. But at the very basic, coming to the very basics, what do we do? What LIMS is? This is what LIMS is. It's clear, right? To all of you. Going ahead, if anyone asks you what LIMS is, just define in short what LIMS is. I believe this would be the best definition. Any one of you have any other better definitions, other examples you can tell me, or if you think that no, this is not the best, shortest definition of LIMS, you can tell me. You are free to tell me.
Yeah, this is the tool which gives information of a sample from its login to from its release. The entire life cycle data we can track.
Correct. Not only information, right? We work on the samples, right? We don't only take information from LIMS, right? We enter the result values also, right? Information, yes, I agree. Information, but what we log samples in LIMS, we enter the results, right? We test whatever we have entered is correct or wrong, and then we report those results, right? In this process, we take information from LIMS, we give information to LIMS, right? Anyways, we will come to the next, So yes, see, if we ask LIMS, everyone will give these answers to us. Okay, it allows effectively to manage samples and associated lab data. It allows us to automate workflows, integrate instruments, and manage samples. So automate workflows, workflow. Each lab follows certain workflows, right? For example, someone receives the sample, someone else allocates it, maybe in some labs to some other analyst or to someone. After you enter the results, some supervisor comes and they supervise, they see whether everything is up to the mark or not, and they approve or reject it, But you can create workflows in LIMS. So whoever worked in LIMS, you might have in pharma, you mostly work in workflows, right? Because you will open one workflow. Workflow will have its own name, and you click here, you do certain task. Okay, then done. You click on the next icon. Workflow means it's arranged in some chronological order, right? Certain tasks in some icon format on some format. Right? So produce accurate, reproducible results faster. Okay. So you can track the entire sample life cycle in LIMS. Okay. So one question. So I want to ask to all of you, because all of you are from pharma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have heard, right? LIMS is also used in other industries as well, right?
Yeah, where
Yes.
petrochemical and
Yes.
Petrochemical,
Food and
chemical
beverages
industries.
industry.
Beverage,
Food,
yes.
yeah.
petrochemical, manufacturing and mining. Yes. Anywhere where you have samples, where you need to test something, their LIMS comes, right? So yeah, you can track your sample. That's what we said. That's what, right? That is the basic definition what I said you. But LIMS does more than that, right? Query searching. You can you can write complicated queries using big joins, and you can fetch specific data, right? That this sample logged between this and this date by this and this user in this life cycle. Maybe this, I want a sample which is in unreceived status, which has been logged by user ID XYZ between 21st December 1991, for example, and 21st December 1992, who belongs to this lab. You got it, right? So sophisticated query searching, by pulling, query searching means writing queries, okay, then pulling some data from LIMS which you may need it. Okay, instrument integration, yes, you can do. Okay, we'll see this in our later modules. Okay, we'll touch these topics. Then barcoding. See, when you receive the samples in the lab, you acknowledge in LIMS, right, that you have received, and you the samples have the barcodes which we see, right? Certain straight lines, right? The QR code or codes attached to it, right? The labels which we say, and then we bring that barcoding machine which reads it, and then the data comes to a system, right? So all of you who have worked in lab, you will be able to understand, right? Yeah, QA/QC functions, then audit trail. Yes,
Yes,
each
yes.
and every LIMS should have an audit trail, right? Everything should be audited, right? Who is doing, who is changing what, when, whatever is going on. Even whenever you are making some changes, you can customize LIMS in such a way that any changes made, it will ask for a justification, it will ask for your e-signature, it will ask for your, it will ask your confirmation. Anyways, this all of you know, right? That's what. But if you delve deeper in LIMS, what we do is from the front end, what the analyst does is like they enter data for certain samples, right? Maybe at most they create the master data, but there are IT teams, there are these software engineers who have created LIMS, so they know how to create workflows. So for creating workflows, you may need certain icons, you may need to automate certain processes. So maybe not only one programming language, maybe you need to understand full stack development, you need to know query, you may need to know a bit of scripting. Okay. Yeah, sample barcode labeling, training, records checking, inventory tracking standards, approve reject test, external integration. So the point is now, how do I choose a LIMS vendor, right? You know, there is a big difference between all kind of LIMS, be it in the UI, be it in the functionality, So for example, if you take labware, so I have heard that there are 2 or 3 people who have worked on labware LIMS, right? So I have one question for all of you. Do you know in which programming language labware LIMS is built?
Yes, sir. I think it's called a small talk.
Yes.
Dog. Maybe
Small
it is a
talk.
dog.
Labware LIMS is mainly on small talk.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Labware LIMS is built on Smalltalk.
Small
Okay.
dog.
Yeah. Starlink is built on .NET. Advantage is built on Java. Sample Manager is built on C#. I am not sure in which programming language is Calibre LIMS built as of now, but if I get to know, I'll let you know. But you see, there are different type of LIMS, right, which are built with its own programming language. Some are, some have client server architecture, some are web based. Different types of billing rates by the creators of LIMS, right, based on licenses. So based on a number of factors, the pharma companies or whoever it is. Yes, someone was telling me something. If yes, you can please go ahead if you have any questions.
Yeah, currently, which version of LIMS we will be talking about? Will be giving coaching.
Yeah, mostly the screenshots you will see it will be of 7 and 8. Currently LabWell LIMS is version 8, but
8 or
there is not
9
much
is, I
difference
think 9
between
is
7
going
and 8.
on.
I am not sure about
Then
9. Yes.
Because yeah, currently I think 9 version is going on, the updated one.
As of now, I know about 8. Anyone else, if you want to say about it?
No, I think now most of the industries are with version 7 and 8 is it's 8 is the latest version now. 9.
I'm talking about LabWell LIMS. I'm not sure about others. LabWell LIMS, I know 8 is the latest version.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
It is the little.
If
So
someone
can we
who said you,
maximize
if
the
you
window?
know if 9 is, then you may throw some more light. But I have not heard about 9.
Okay.
As
I'll
of
just confirm because the whatever the today I was talking in my company, so not implemented, but the 9th version is going to be implemented. So they are working on that. So
no,
that is
maybe
what I
yeah,
asked you.
maybe LabWare is working on version 9. Maybe very soon it will come out in the market. But
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what. No, not yeah.
Yeah, as of
Yes,
now,
yes,
the
yes,
latest
that's what.
version which you have on the market is version 8. Version 7,
Okay.
many
Yes.
vendors, many pharma companies use version 7 as well. There are a very
Hmm.
rare company who have version 6, but they have migrated to version 7. But the UI for version 7 and version 8 is almost same. There are very
Almost same.
minor
Okay.
differences. Yes, there are upgrades, but there was quite difference between 6 and 7. But this goes on, right? 6, 7, 8. Of course, there will be 9. Like we have Windows 11, maybe it will be 12, who knows, 13, 14. Like we have Android 10, Android 11, this will go on, right? So, but see, try to understand one thing. This is what I try to tell everyone, right? The point is, okay, I need to know what is in version 8, what is in version 9, but some basics will never change, right? Like my sample table, my product table, my product grade stage table, how they are linked, my item code table, right? My users table, some basic flags. Going ahead, everything will, but there is some basic architecture, right? Try to understand that. That is the backbone, right? Generally, they won't change the backbone, right? So in our later courses, I'll try to hit on those backbone, right? Yeah, going ahead, many table structures will change, some table names will change, but there are many tables, right? In the pharma industry, you will be working with the pharma template, right? Those generally won't change, right? There will be upgrades. Yes, I agree. Maybe earlier in version 6, you were able to only execute one query at a time. Maybe in version 7 and 8, what I've heard of is you will be able to simultaneously execute 2 to 3 queries at a time. Yeah, there will be changes. Version 6, you will be seeing everything the ribbon will be green. Version 7 to 8, if you notice, it will be somewhat bluish, right? There will be changes, right? Workflow icons, workflow menus will change, things will get faster. But some basic table structures, some basics, right? They won't change, right? I believe, like in Lavantage, right? The UI, it's like tram stops, which they call. There are certain circles you click. Again, some circles come to the right or come to the down. That look and feel is only for Lavantage. So those basic things will change, right? Like Lavantage is built on Java. Some backend coding is there. Some basic things won't change. That's what. Uh, hmm. So these are the different type of limbs. I believe there are more kind of limbs coming in the market. I think I have heard about, I think even if you have heard or not, I don't know, Watson limbs. It's created by, I think most probably it's created by IBM, but mostly what we see is LabWell limbs, LabVantage, Sample Manager, and Star limbs. But Caliber is now trying to come to the market slowly. But again, if you see which limbs is mostly used by all the big pharma companies, LabWare will come to your mind, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, sure, 100%.
Yeah, yes, LabWare is the first thing which will come to everyone's mind. LabWare limbs. Okay. So there are certain environments, right? So limbs, you generally the analysts, they work in the production environment, right? Production means where you work with the live samples in the lab and you enter the values, right? But before anything moves into production, right? When you create the master data, we create it in development environment, right? So I'm not sure whether all of you have access to development environment or not. Whoever have worked on LIMS, you should try to understand the environment. Different pharma companies have, I can tell that, okay, I am a pharma company and I have development, testing and production. Some companies have, two testing environments, right? They decide that, okay, I will test in one environment, I'll move to another environment and do another round of testing. Some pharma companies may have one more environment, which they call it training environment, where they train the new users, So my point is like, don't be very, see some may have, development. Most of them, they do the static data creation in development environment only, and then they do the testing there, and then they move it to testing environment and test it. But just don't be rigid. Like, okay, we have only 3 environments, which is broadly speaking, we have only 3 environments: development, testing and production, right? But the vendor, the pharma company, anyone can come forward and say that, okay, I need LIMS, but I need it in 5 environments because I have my requirement this way. So development environment, but broadly speaking, development environment where you do your development task. Then you, broadly speaking, you move it to test and you do the testing. Okay. Then after your testing is done, you move it to production and things go live, and in the production environment, you start entering the values. This is like broadly speaking. Okay. Then, you have modules, you have lot management module, you have inventory management module. Okay. We will see into modules in our later, later classes. You have instrument management modules where you can manage your instruments, calibrate them. You have stability management modules. You have EM modules. You have micro inventory management module. So even in level LIMS, you have batch manager, you have folder manager, you have project manager. Those are again separate modules. So the list never goes on. We don't know whether coming to the newer versions, we may have 1 or 2 extra modules. We don't know, or we may not have. So again, we have something known as master data, right? So all of you have, in pharma industry, I think many of you have, again and again come across the term master data, right? So because I want to make this, session interactive, I'm asking you this question. So I'll tell you what master data is, but before I tell you, can anyone of you tell me what master data is? What comes into your mind when you hear this name, master data? Data, but it's master data.
The data which we are creating in backend for all the front-end activities which we are doing in production environment.
Correct. Exactly, you said it very beautifully, master data, you prepare products, you prepare analysis, you prepare the static data. But in order to work with the dynamic data, in order to work with the samples, you need those static data, you need those master data. You got it right.
Correct.
We'll come to our later, sessions about the creation, about the tables. But yes, very correctly said. But hello, yeah. Okay. If anyone was asking something. So see, when we create samples, when we enter values for those samples, when we enter results for those samples, those are actually, dynamic data. Again, master data, what we generally call them, they are part of static data. Again, static data means it's not that they will never change. That many people, they make a mistake. They say that, okay, static means static, but no. Here, static data means something which do not generally change or regularly change. Not change very often, or which is not dynamic in nature, that is static. So I will discuss in depth in a later, later sessions. Again, roles, role is something which is important, right? Because whenever you have logged into LIMS, or you try to log into LIMS, or even if it's a chromatography software, for example, if you take Empower, Chromeleon, They will ask you when you give your user ID and password, right? Mostly drop down will come. You may have one role assigned to you or multiple roles assigned to you based on your, what your tasks are in your lab, or as an admin, or as an IT person, or as a developer, whatever it is. So, the difference is that, like, what roles are, right? See, from the front end, you can tell, okay, I'm an analyst. I'll be able to, maybe I'll be only able to enter values for samples. Maybe someone who is senior to you, for example, I'm telling you, for example, I don't know how things are set for each pharma company in the lab, but for example, one person may come who is supervisor 1. He may be able to review to some level some tests, and supervisor 2 may be able to review all the tests, including those of supervisor 1. You can see that some people will have access, can do something. Some other people will be able to do those things. Along with that, some more things. Some other people will be able to do those things, but will not be able to do some other things. This is clear, right? But at the back end, why are they able to do this? Because certain functionalities have been assigned to that particular role. There are certain functions, certain flags. For example, in LIMS, when you create a user in user table, you assign a role to him or her. So when you assign a role to him or her, that role, you also need to create separately that role, and that role has certain functionalities assigned to it. For example, that role may not be able to authorize or reject sample. That role will only be able to enter result values for sample. Try to understand the difference, right? From the front end, you see that, okay, someone who is an admin, he or she is able to do everything. She is able to reject, he or she is able to approve, he or she is able to create workflows, he or she is able to change the backend code, he or she is able to change some rules. But when you log in as a simple analyst, you see you are only able to enter values for samples, right? Even you are not able to see all the workflows, you are not able to see all the modules, not all the ribbons, but that does not mean others won't be able to see. Got it, right? We'll discuss in detail when we go to the users table. Hello, anyone, any questions?
So this course, when it will be like, you will be conducting, sir, weekends, or and what is the tenure of the course details? Can you please let us know? Like,
Yeah, it will be once a week on Sunday mornings around 4 hours. So I believe anyone from Company Connect Consultancy will be able to explain you more.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. So madam will reach out to you personally about the duration. So generally it will be like Sunday 4 hour, 1 month course. Okay.
1 month course. Okay.
Along with that, at last, we'll have one mock interview session where I'll ask you questions, you will try to answer, or I'll give you the answers. I mean, based on whatever we have learned, what you have understood, okay, or what may be the probable questions asked on interviews, or what are the important questions, what are the important points you need to remember. Okay. So we'll also discuss that. We'll also try to cover that. Okay. I mean, that will also be a good recap.
Yeah, I have a
Is there like placement like undertaking course, placement opportunities provided by the consultant? Is there any opportunities as like?
Only placements assistance will be provided to you, but there is no guarantee. Okay, whenever there is a vacancy will be there,
Okay.
and the vacancy will be shared out to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yes. Someone else was asking. Okay.
yes.
One thing, whoever asked the earlier question regarding placements, I want to tell you one thing. See, LIMS, being a consultant myself, for a couple of years in LIMS, I'll prepare you the basics. I'll teach you something. But the point is, you will have your manual, the LIMS manual, or whatever manuals you have. It's in your hand.
Okay.
It's you who needs to give the hard work, right? I'll prepare the basics for you.
Okay.
Catching those things, you need to go up and up, because if you see manuals are 2,500, 3,000 pages big. The consultants, they just The consultants don't just become consultants in 1 month or just doing some crash course, right?
Yeah, sure,
Like
sir, of course.
polishing a diamond, like, right? Polish yourself, read more, give time. Because
Okay.
myself,
So we need to,
yeah.
we need to practice like the system. We need to practice every day workout.
Not also practice, right? It's understanding what flag is doing what. Apart from practice, reading the manual, what is doing what. Again, going through the manual. If something does not come to your mind, understanding the code, understanding how table structure is built, how queries are built, how the automation scripts are built, what are the functions. For example, if you want to create workflows in LIMS, you cannot only know LIMS basic, you need to also know JavaScript. Okay, you need to know CSS, you need to know a bit of HTML, you need to know query. First, when you do this basic straight, when you know this homework, then you open a workflow in LIMS and see how the backend code is built. Then you will be able to relate. Not at the first time. This is not 1 day or 1 month, one crash course where someone will teach you and you will learn. No. This is like you need to get yourself dirty, to be very honest. Got it, right?
Okay, sir. Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I will be able to prepare you at least in such a way that when you open the manual for LIMS, you won't be afraid to see, okay, what is this? Why I'm not under, but at least you will understand something that, okay, based on your understanding, based what I've explained to you, you will be able to join the dots. Someone else
I
was
have a
asking
question.
Hello.
Yeah.
So regarding LIMS, what is the base step we have to look into? Like we have to look in product or sample or tests or results. What is the first step that we have to look into?
Of all, you first need to understand what sample is, what sample life cycle is, what happens when you receive a sample, what happens when you enter all the values, how do you enter results? You first need to understand sample. Okay, then you understand how that sample is built. Some analysis are there, some components are linked. How those analyses are built, what are those components, what are the flags for that analysis, what are those components, are those components mandatory, those are step by step. Then you come to the product, because product has your analysis, and when you log the lots using those products, your samples come up. Those I'll come later. I believe this should be your approach. But again, if you come to a top-down approach, that way I should know how a product is built in product specification designer. That is also okay if you read parallelly, but I believe both sides is true. But if you go from the bottom, first you understand sample, first you understand, analysis component, then you slowly go to product. I mean, I'm not talking theoretically, I'm talking about lab values, how the product is built, because product has, inside again, product table, product grade stage, product spec. There are 4 tables, parent table, then child table, again, child table of that table. So we'll come to that later. Okay, yeah, next question.
Sir, this is Bhaskar.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I'm microbiologist. I have lab LIMS access. I'm a analyst level.
Okay, good.
Actually, for analyst level, lab LIMS user persons, they will not be having access for access the all modes.
Correct.
Some modes will not open for us.
You will have very limited access. But what I'll teach you is above an analyst, far above an analyst, so that even if they in the future they give you some other access, you won't be afraid. Or even if you are logging in as analyst, you will understand what is happening at the back end.
Yes, but how we are going to train? Means you will teach in lab LIMS that development server only, or
no? I don't have access to zero server of lab LIMS. I don't have.
Okay.
I'll teach you with certain screenshots. I have zero access to lab LIMS servers.
Okay. So in that some certain screenshots you have, in that where need to go for
because
folder
lab
management.
LIMS generally you will get access. Maybe if you work in labware, that's a separate question.
Yes.
Second point, if you are working in a pharma company or if you are part of a university who has taken labware license, I don't know if there are any cracked demo version of labware LIMS. As of now, I was not able to, get my hands on those. Second,
Still,
if I
it
just
is
try
not
to
there.
buy one version or one from labware, one license, they will never give me. First question, they'll ask you, why are you buying?
Yes.
believe which all of you know. I'm
Mm.
not sure about other limbs. I am talking about lab limbs, but this is the truth, you know.
So you are talking about labware limbs.
Yeah, I am talking about lab limbs, but you know, we'll talk about some terms, right? Test, analysis,
Okay.
product, which is common
Where
to
we
all
have to
limbs,
go
right?
and edit the samples and all, and where we have to give the comments and all, everything, right?
Yeah, we'll talk that. We'll go far above that, right? We'll go to sample login template. I mean, samples are at very low level, right? Sample user template.
Yes.
At higher level, we have LIMS basic code. We have, you know, query writing, you know.
Yes. Okay.
Those are high level things, you know.
Mm.
User creation is basic, but what are the flags? Why are you creating this? Why are you doing this while creating user? Why? What is that master data? You know, in which tables is that master data? You know, actually there are a lot of tables, but we'll try to cover a couple of those tables.
Okay.
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 Sir,
Mainly,
I want to know. Hello.
yeah.
Sir, I want to know, are you cover these things like analysis mapping, master creation, compilation mapping for summary report generation? These all things. Are you cover this in this session?
Analysis mapping, I'm not sure of, but you know how to build a product, that table, then analysis, yes, I'll cover. Analysis mapping is something which I think like, I'm not sure about what you are telling. Analysis mapping, like, you know, already an analysis is built. Now I am trying to create a new product. I need to write a query and see if that analysis is present or not. If not, or something matches or not. If something matches, I won't create a new analysis. Maybe I'll create a variation of that analysis. If not, I'll create a new analysis. That is what I believe mapping is, as per my previous experience. If you are talking about that, you know,
No.
it's
Yes,
not
sir.
possible to cover here, but because that's a big topic, you know, because I need to teach you when and how you need to do mapping. Why? When will it not match? When will you create a new? When won't you? You know, that's something like you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about a
That
static
only.
data migration project. I think something related to static data. That you know, that is a very big topic. You know, analysis mapping. If I want, I'll go deep. I worked on analysis mapping, but it will take time. But I don't think that will be a part of this session. But yes, maybe you will get some idea about how to do, or you know, analysis mapping, because that's not very tough if you know what variation is, how your components are built in LIMS, what are those flags which decide which component is mandatory, which is optional, which is reportable, you know, what are the basic queries which you need to pull out the analysis names, to pull out the sample numbers.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you know
Basic.
those things, then yeah, you can apply your brain. And that's what, right? In 1 month course, I cannot, you know, give you a whole overview of one software which so many developers are creating, but you know, something which will help you to yourself join the dots. Surely I can give you this, you know, I can tell you, I can give you this, you know, confirmation from my side.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a slide. We'll show something from the slide. I'll show you some screenshots, but mostly, you know, slide statements will be there. I'll teach you something, but you will have the slides with you. I won't cover. I'll teach you something more. I'll go deeper, you know. So we'll learn. You will ask me questions. You will learn from me. You from the being from the pharma, and I'll learn something from you. It will be an interactive session. You know, we'll try to make the learning both side. Okay. You know, cost assessment. So if you see initial cost, okay, cost for purchasing of system plus internal training time. So, okay, without going into the formulas, right? That's what. So, you know, when you try to buy a LIMS, that's what, you know, or when you buy a LIMS for a pharma company, see, it's not just I'm buying, okay, with the license, and then, okay, I'm setting the servers and I'm bringing the developers, or I'm bringing the IT companies, and then I'm setting everything and it's done. No, right? Because when I buy that LIMS, I need to train the people, the analysts, right? How to work with that LIMS, right? So that needs training, right? That takes time. That needs costing. Someone needs to train, right? Time is money, right? So that's what I just want to tell you. It's not just like, that's what, right? While assessing, it's not I'll assess, right? I'm just buying it. How easy it is to teach the analysts how the UI is, how things are built, you know. There are many things which are needed to take into account while, you know, setting up the LIMS. So, you know, that's why, right, you have heard about migration projects, right, where from one kind of LIMS you migrate to another kind of LIMS, because maybe one vendor, one pharma company, they are using 2 to 3 different kind of LIMS. They have suddenly decided, okay, I will now work in only one kind of LIMS. I will not work in 2 to 3 kind of LIMS to, discard all ambiguities. So they try to migrate all kind of LIMS to one kind of LIMS. So for doing that also takes time, right? So I mean, you decide what kind of LIMS you want to work on. Okay, I'll work in this kind of LIMS. I'll take all the licenses for this kind of LIMS after migration. Migration is done. I'll train all my analysts in this kind of LIMS. Going ahead, they'll train in this and they'll work on this. So annual cost, you have maintenance cost per year. You have the license. So plus TN minus TO, cost of time spent using new LIMS minus cost of time spent using old paper-based system. Okay, just simple formulas. That's what, right? There are many projects which are cancelled prior to implementation. Why they are cancelled, right? Because proper planning was not done. They thought that they would be able to migrate or build that master data within this point of time, or they will be able to do it this way, but no. Or maybe they are not able to create global templates for this, or it is taking time, or they did something initially, right? Maybe something problem with the table structure, or they did not, include one flag, which they later came out that, okay, this flag needs to be there or something. And they, again, implementing that is another headache for them. But yes, that's why, right? For implementing any kind of LIMS for any big pharma companies, they need to assess many things. The risks, in which programming language it is built, how the creators, how is the track record for providing support when anything goes down, what has been the past review, how is the UI, how is the security, how much does it comply to the pharma industry regulations and standards, how good does it comply, how easy it is to automate certain processes. These are the things. Okay. So, okay, yeah, that's what key messages. A good information management system will ensure all data, the final product of the laboratory, is well managed, ensure confidentiality and privacy of patient information. Yes. Incorporate all the laboratory business processes as part of the system, assure accessibility, accuracy, timeliness, and security of data. Yes. So all of this comes under, your guidelines, right? That whatever LIMS you are working, right, it should have an audit trail. Everything should be audited. Who is entering when? Not only that, right? Why your roles are there? That's why, right? You are restricted. You won't be able to do everything, right? You will be able to do only that which is needed by you, right? So that you don't tamper with the things. You don't tamper with the data, right? Only how much is needed you work on. What is not needed you don't work on, right? Also, that is like protecting the data, right? That the data is in its place and it's not being changed. Even if it's being changed, it's recorded, or LIMS is recording continuously at the back end who logged in when and who changed it. Or whenever you change it, it'll ask you for a justification. What is the justification? You type the justification. So, I mean, everything is caught. I mean, everything is within the radar, right? So, then that's what, right? If you are working on LIMS for any sample, what do? You register it, you then receive it, you prepare it, then you allocate it, you test it, you validate it, you approve it, you report it. After your work is done, you archive it, so that later, after 6 months, 1 year, or anything, you can retrieve it. You archive it, you don't delete it. Maybe you delete it from your LIMS server, but you archive it and store in some other server, right? It stays on, right? So yeah, that's what, right? We discussed about the functionalities. We discussed what basic LIMS does, but there are a lot of functionalities, like, for example, reporting, right? Creation of reports. That's one another, big topic, because, LabVantage uses Jasper reports for reporting. LabVal LIMS uses Crystal reports. there are separate projects, separate teams work on, for creating the reports at the back end. At the front end, what you see is just the report, right? You are pulling the sample number, you are giving this, and the report comes up. But the report backbone is created by certain developers, right? Using certain reporting tools. Okay. Yeah, you can track that chain of custody, barcode, compliance, document management, instrument calibration, inventory. Yeah, of all this. Okay. Coming to advantages, right? Of course, there will be advantages because it's digitized, right? Everything is tracked, everything is checked. It's like a foolproof system, right? Where you have your audit trail, you have certain roles, you will be able to do something, you won't be able to do something. There won't be duplication. Okay, things will be fast. You don't need a calculator and type something. All the formulas will be written at the back end by the developers. You will just type the values and the formulas will itself be calculated at the back end and everything will come at the front end, right? This is not with a paper, right? You need a calculation or you need a calculator or something, right? It's not fully automated, right? But again, that's what you need to be trained. You need to adapt to your new system. You need to purchase license because it's computers. Everything is stored in server, right? Even if we talk about cloud data is also stored in a server, right? So you need backup. There can never be loss of data. Even if it is something which is stored in computer, right? It is stored in certain servers, right? So earlier it was stored in papers, which used to take very large spaces. Now it's stored in servers, but it takes comparatively less space. But again, it needs maintenance, right? So, I mean, nothing in this material world is, out of maintenance, right? Everything needs maintenance. Everything needs brushing up. Everything needs, maintenance. So, yeah. This is where I want to conclude today's session on the basics of LIMS. I can see 2 hands raised. Okay. I'll quickly come into your questions where 2 hands are raised. Hello. First hand raised by Bhaskar. You can ask me questions. Okay. Next hand is raised by Aditya. If you have any questions, you can ask me. If by mistake you have raised your hand, you can remove it, or if you can hear me, Aditya, no issues. But any questions from anyone as of now? Yeah, Aditya, if you want to ask me something.
I think Aditya having some mic problem. Aditya, are you there?
Sir, if you want to get along this training, if you want to get a hands-on experience, how what is the platform that we can approach and how we can get this one? You are telling that the access is too difficult.
Sure about labware LIMS. I am not sure, to be very honest, but there are some free LIMS which are online available. Maybe I can come later and I can tell you where you can maybe create samples, enter value for those samples, and you can just see how to enter results. Those free LIMS are not very big. So yeah, getting your hands dirty is very tough for this kind of COTS products.
Okay.
Because you from the pharma industry, you'll understand, right?
Right.
If anyone from Company Connect Consultancy want to add something.
Yeah, sure. So Rajesh, regarding the hands-on experience, you can reach out to Madam. Madam, will you tell you the cost of the about the application access and all? There is additional cost will be applicable in this case actually. Okay. So you can reach out to Madam. Madam will tell you all the details on that.
Okay, sir. Sure.
From my side, I'll go through the slides. screenshots. I'll type something. I'll tell you. But the way I'll teach, I'm quite sure. Yeah, you need to get into LIMS and get your hands dirty. I agree. But the way which I'll teach you, whatever topics I'll cover you, you will understand even if you don't log into LIMS. That's how I taught the last batch. And I'm quite sure they were quite happy with it.
What about the availability of training materials or the recorded sessions? Like how long we can access?
I believe that Company Connect Consultancy again will be able to answer you that question.
Yeah, of course. So training material will be accessible to you for 1 year. All the we can say training material you can access via the website. We'll provide once the registration will be done, we'll provide the access to that page. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Aditya, go ahead.
Hello, I'm working as a LIMS admin. So I have all the access of LIMS development server. But I just want to ask, when we read the back coding, so we are from pharma field, so we can't understand what is the code we'll write at the back end. So it is very difficult to understand.
I agree. But you see, that's what, right? That's where we need to get our hands dirty, right? That's why if you are using LabWell LIMS, you need to understand what LIMS basic code is. You need to understand the function one by one. You need to study each function from the manual. For example, you are going through LIMS basic code. You have come through one function. Okay. Update result field. Now you need to go into the manual and understand what update result field is. Now, before you go to update result field, you will see certain loops. If else, while, do while. You need to understand, certain loops are used in all programming languages, right? You need to go to YouTube, understand what is a while loop, what is if loop, what is if else loop, what happens if is there and else if is there, what happens if only if is there and else is there. When you make your basics straight, then you go at the back end and try to understand, right? For example, you cannot tell that, okay, directly I'm trying to read some Java code. No, I need to understand what Java is, who built Java, at least appreciate them, how they have built it, how the architecture is, then what the most commonly used functions are, coming to some functions, coming to the data types. I come to the data types, slowly, I understand, I come to some higher topics. I understand the core concepts of Java, which I called core Java. Then I go to one small Java code and try to understand, right? Directly, if I go to one Java code, directly I cannot do the reverse engineering. We need to first understand in which programming language is that LIMS built, or in which scripting language is it built. First understand that scripting language, then come to the code.
Okay.
Yeah,
and manual is manual is also difficult to understand actually.
Agreed, but even I went through this stage. Everyone has to go through this stage, right? See, someone has to teach you Java. You have to learn Java, right? Then only you'll understand Java code, right? Yourself or someone will be teaching you. Again, Java is like 100 hours of course. There are upper levels. Someone has to teach you C#, or you need to understand C#. Then you will be able to understand, right? I mean, someone has to do it, right? Someone has to start. You need to start writing queries from select star. Then you come to joins. Then you understand how table structures and building LIMS, right? Then you write select star in somewhere you have to start, right? Yeah, that's where somewhere you need to brush up. For everyone who starts from day one, right? See, if I tell you, you start writing an essay. If you don't know what ABC is, what statements are, what words are, how will you write an essay, right? That's what I'm trying to explain you. That word statement. Then come to the essay. Just don't come first from the essay, and don't try to do the reverse engineering. Maybe you have some idea about that coding language, then you do the reverse engineering. Yeah, some more hands I can see. Yeah, I think Rizwan Revati, or I don't know who. Yeah, but you can ask questions, no issues.
Yeah, how this course is benefit to a non-pharma student like me?
See, even if you are from pharma, even if you are not from pharma, you will at least understand what LIMS is, LIMS basics is, what samples are, so that tomorrow, day after tomorrow, if someone comes to you and asks you what LIMS is, you have worked on LIMS or do you have some basic idea of LIMS, you can tell that I can tell you a lot of things about LIMS.
Okay.
Even if you are not in pharma, even if you are in some other industry, which we have said earlier, and it may be using LIMS, then also you can tell them that, yes, I know. Because though this knowledge will be applicable there also.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, some other questions I can see. Whoever has asked the question, you can lower down your hand, okay? Yeah, someone else?
Sir. Actually, I worked in Cipla almost 8 years, and
Oh,
I
great.
used a completely labware LIMS. Okay, and currently working in Biocon. So there also I'm using LIMS.
Great.
The thing is, what after using LIMS, I took the training like software testing course also I had, and right now I'm working for learning Python basis automation course.
Good.
So the thing is, what my aim is to shift to the IT company. Currently working in the pharma, and aim is
See,
to shift
now
in the IT.
I'm telling you, if you want to shift in IT, you need to catch a particular track. Now, if you want to come to IT through LabVantage, you need to learn Java, full stack. If you want to
Okay.
come through LabVal LIMS, you need to know LIMS basic code. You need to know query. You need to know, maybe not, even if not, maybe at higher level, you need to know a bit of JavaScript, CSS. Okay, don't consider this. But at least you need to know LIMS basic code and query. A bit, which we'll cover.
Okay, but I'm not looking for the development of the LIMS, but I'm looking for the testing of LIMS, like LIMS software testing, and each module
If you
units.
want to come to testing in IT, but there should be something, right, which separates IT from pharma, right? Something which is software, right? Some table structures you need to explain them confidently, right? Some structure, something, right? Something which is at the back end, something which will help your interviewer to understand, okay, he knows how the things are working at the back end. He knows, he does not only know why I'm clicking, he knows when I'm clicking, why this is happening.
Correct, sir.
Don't know whether I'm able to, yeah, that's what.
Okay, okay.
Like
So basic SQL, API.
Yeah, basic SQL, right? At least you can tell them, right, that I can fetch this basic query and give you this details. Now,
Yes.
if you ask me something complicated, you give me time, I'll prepare you this query and try to tell you. You can tell them, okay, I will be able to join this query, this tables and give you the answer. Or you can tell them, okay, I don't have that much experience, but at least they will understand that, okay, he knows something, right? At least.
Yes, sir.
First of all, you
So
try to bring yourself to this level, then you bring to your next level, right? It's one by
Okay.
one we climb up the ladder, right?
Okay. So for my aim, your course will be helpful, right?
Of course, it will be helpful.
Okay, okay. That's what I was
100%.
asking.
Sir,
And is
can
it
we
possible?
understand LIMS?
Can we understand?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can we understand the LIMS interfacing with other softwares like instrument?
Very good question. But this is not an easy thing, right? This is again separate code, separate topic. See, if I try to explain you LIMS LabVal LIMS with SAP, SAP uses some ABAP codes, right? RFC, it uses remote function calls. Now you need to understand ABAP coding as well. You need to understand SAP. That's what, right? So someone said me, right? I am directly trying to understand the code. No, there are different type of code, different programming language. There is not one consultant who may know 10 codes. Then I need to explain you what SAP, how SAP codes are built. Then you will explain, right, the interfacing.
Okay.
Interfacing, I can just tell you, okay, this interfaces this calls this, but that I can read one SOP and give you SOP. But no, the point is, you need to know how the interfacing is done. For that, you need to open that code and see how they are using those remote function call, which call is doing what. That's what, right? That now you can tell me, now you can ask me the question, sir, can we know how to create reports, crystal reports, SOP, I'm not SOP, I think crystal report manual is 1800 pages big. You can play with tables, you can create views, you can take this from the database, you can change the font, I can tell you, okay, maybe I'll show you some screenshots and you will understand how to run report in one day, create report. But is it, can you learn to create crystal report in one day?
No.
No, 100%.
It's very difficult to understand.
Exactly. No, it's not difficult. That's what. Nothing is difficult in this world. It's just you need to try to understand. You need to do the hard work, trying to understand, spend time.
How do you teach SAP RFC functions also?
No, not in this course. No, SAP I won't be teaching you. I am not an SAP consultant, to be very honest. Remote function calls. I know that yes, it uses remote function call, but I don't know what remote function calls are used. No, I went through a couple of years ago through those codes, but some codes are big. They are very big. Those codes are very big.
Can we understand the troubleshooting of LabWare LIMS regarding any instrument interfacing?
Instrument interfacing,
Because most of the
troubleshooting, I can
times we
show
are
you the
facing with the
basics of instrument
troubleshooting.
interfacing. No. See, most of the time troubleshooting means if some backend code is there, we open the debugger and troubleshoot it, right? But in order to debug it and understand, we need to understand the codes, right? We understand. I can teach you basics of LIMS basic, right? But LIMS basic is such a big thing. I can teach you for 30 long hours LIMS basic coding, right?
Okay.
How to troubleshoot, maybe I can tell you, but can I be able to teach you everything, troubleshooting everything in LabWare? No.
No. Okay, I got it.
Sir, I have a question, sir. So now, LIMS is a separate software, but before that, if you want to understand especially this is about master data creation, what are the basic softwares that we need to understand first? Like we need to know.
What? No, it's not like this. If you take LabVantage,
No, this is only about LabWare.
Become a master in LabVantage, you need to know something about Java, right? But for LabWare LIMS, they've prepared the scripting language in such a way that you don't need to know Smalltalk to work in, LabWare. You need to know LIMS basic code. I didn't get your question. I mean, what you need to know early means.
Now SQL we need to learn.
Oh yeah, SQL you need. Yes, SQL.
That's what like that.
SQL is common, right, in on the pharma industry. See, SQL means query language. Wherever there is data, most of the time there is query, right? Because you need to fetch data, you need to play with it. There is query, right? So SQL is basics, right? I mean, SQL is used, I think, by all the LIMS, right?
Correct.
If I'm not wrong. So yes, that is there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like Java, C language, anything we need to learn before entering into.
No, you need to know C, but it will never end, right? If you want to know LabVantage, you need to know Java, right? That's what I'm telling you. You cannot know everything within a short span of time. You need to catch one tool, you need to catch one path, then you need to go ahead in that path. You don't become consultant in 1 year, right? Because there are consultants with 30 years of experience. Still, they are learning that tool, right?
Correct.
Every year in Java, they are adding functions. The version is getting upgraded.
Correct.
You cannot tell that, the more you know, more you understand, you will tell that I don't know anything. You go to someone who is working 30 years of experience development in Java, he'll tell you, I don't know anything about Java. That's how vast it is. That's how vast here it is.
Can we learn how to create master data more and more fast so that we can create within a specific timeline?
I cannot give you that surety fast, but how master data is created, I can at least tell you the table structures, where you create in LabWare LIMS, I can tell you. Fast, I cannot tell you. It's not about fast. It's about understanding. See, that's what, right? It's not about how I can create fast. It's about, no, let me complete. It's about understanding in LIMS what flags are what, where I'm clicking, when I'm clicking this, what is happening, why I'm clicking here, so that you take your decision and you prepare it the fastest way. Got it? A consultant knows why he's clicking this, why this tool is working. There is no shortcut, like he is not like you. It's not like how I can create fast. If you know LabWare LIMS, maybe 10 years down the line, you will know LabWare LIMS more than me and you will teach me. Now, trainer sir, I'll teach you in a better way how I can create faster than you. Got it, right?
Okay, got it.
See, my answers are very direct but to the point.
Yes, yes.
Sir,
I like the question.
are you going to teach through live LIMS software or like only slides you made?
This I have answered this. So I
Already
I
answered.
have access to LIMS software. I said you through screenshots, through whatever slides I have
Okay, okay,
on my end.
okay, sir.
Any other questions? Rizwan, Rajesh, still I can see two hands.
Yeah. Do you cover order details, batches, and also which are coming from SAP?
See, batch, I can tell you what batch is. Batch manager is another separate topic.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about a bit about lot manager. But before coming to order, I want to tell something about sample plan, maybe item code, how in level in sample plan item code table is linked. But before that, you need to understand what primary key is, what foreign key is. You got it right.
Yes.
SAP LIMS integration, that's separate thing, that is separate topic, separate in-depth topic if you want to learn from. Even for that, even I also need to learn in too much depth. SAP LIMS integration, right? Two tools are talking. One is SAP having its own coding, scripting. One LIMS, level LIMS having its own coding and scripting language. They are talking to each other, so that is complicated, to be very honest.
Okay.
So how means you can open an SOP and they'll tell you, okay, they use through remote function this, that. But if you ask me how, then I don't know. I need to open and show you those RFC and explain you, right? What those functions are, how they are working, those codes.
Yeah.
Sir, can you just tell what and all IT companies are using this, like making this software, like Accenture, as I know,
They are not
Accenture, Infosys.
making, they are providing service, right? No one is making. Labware is creating its own LIMS software, right? Which is known as Labware LIMS. LabVantage is creating its own LIMS software, which is LabVantage LIMS, right? Thermo Fisher Dynamic, I think, is creating its own LIMS software, which is Sample Manager. If I'm not wrong, rectify me.
Okay.
Accenture is never making, neither Cognizant, neither Wipro, neither Tech Mahindra. No, they are not making these softwares. They are service providers. Even Labware India is not creating Labware LIMS. The main coding, the backend coding, the main small talk coding, most probably is either done by Labware USA or UK or both jointly by them. Again, I'm not sure. Needs to be verified.
Sir, as per my knowledge, ITC Infotech also creating this labware LIMS.
They are not, no, they are not creating. That's where you are wrong. Software, who is creating Microsoft Word? It's created by Microsoft, right? When you talk about creation, what? I am giving you a tool, I am creating workflow, but I'm not creating the tool. Backbone is built and sent to me. Okay, we'll discuss this in the later chapters. They are not creating Labware LIMS, wrong. If anyone tells you I'm developing Labware LIMS, wrong. I'm not creating. Software is already created. It's a COTS product. You don't create Labware LIMS. You go to the manual first page, it will tell you it's a COTS product. You are not creating COTS product. Anyone working in Labware can tell you, okay, I am a Labware working consultant, I'm creating Labware. Anyone working outside Labware, I don't know how they are telling you they are creating Labware LIMS.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. I have one concern. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes. Yeah, I'm listening.
Now all pharma companies are moving this EL.
ELN, right? ELN. I think I missed your word.
Can you explain that LIMS? ELN chapter in that course.
I don't think ELN is included here because ELN, electronic ELN, is a separate part.
You are talking about the HPLM, isn't it, Chatra?
ALM or ELN or
ELN.
HPALM? ELN.
ELN.
Electronic Laboratory Notebook.
Yeah.
That
No,
that
that is
that
a separate system. Yeah.
that's separate. That's in depth. That's separate. HPALM is also separate. It's for testing. Yeah.
You can explain in briefly, right? Not shortly. How to create, how to create worksheet, workbook, kind of.
That's what, right? Worksheet, workbook. That's a very
Yeah.
fast thing. Okay. But I can just teach you basics what ELN is. But no, even I don't have depth knowledge about worksheet, workbook creation. You know, it's very in depth.
Okay, one session you can take.
There are separate projects, let me be very honest. There is one project which they are creating static data, master data. There is another project where they are creating reports in bulk, at the back end. We don't know, but there may be some other IT companies who have separately got this project for creating this worksheet and workbook in ELN, they are automating this, they are talking to the client, those are in-depth separate things, There are some teams who are only working on LIMS basic code, who are creating the LIMS basic code. They are only working on subroutines. Covering everything, in 16 hours, no. Even in, 16 hours, Kitty, someone will understand just the basic of lab LIMS. You need to, in order to understand lab LIMS, you need to at least study yourself for 100 hours or 160 hours. Then you can tell, okay, I'm an E2 level expert.
Okay, thank you.
No. See, when you read any SOP, no, you cannot just tell I have become a master in it, When I read lot management SOP, no, it just says when I click this happens. But no, I create lot based on certain templates. I need to know what are those lot templates? Why something is written in blue, some fields, why are they black? That's when I'll be able to join the dots, And learning that, is mostly not one day task, or creating that template is not 1 hour task. No, never. You need to know how to set each flag, what each flag does. Then only you need to learn, study. Even the developers who are creating, they are studying, they are testing, and then they are creating, Same for master data, right? You are working on some dissolution, creating some dissolution analysis, creating subroutines for dissolution. Stage 1 is failing. Stage 2 components are getting populated. Stage 2 values are out of specification. Stage 3 values are getting populated. You are testing, you are creating the code. Maybe it's failing at some point. Again, you are modifying the code. You are testing. You are using so many functions. Client is testing it. Then that is coming into picture. But anyways, all of your questions are very, I found all of your questions very interesting. But I tried to explain you, from the very basics. Any other questions? I think we can conclude our call, right? It's quite late, but I would love to connect with all of you later, that all of you will come later and learn lab LIMS from me. Yeah, thank you. Over to Company Connect Consultancy.
Yeah, I think that's it for today's demo session. So try to join the classes as soon as possible. I think 12th of the Feb, we are going to start the class on the LIMS. Before to that, have a registration as soon as possible. Okay then. So thanks to join everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a very happy weekend.
So hope everyone has the numbers and the mail address to have a registration. Okay. So thanks to all. Bye-bye.